Howdy everyone, and welcome to the stream. Hope y'all are doing alright. Today we're going to be working on interactables so that we have something to do in our overworld. Howdy everyone. So things like chests that the player can open and gather loot from, NPCs that they can talk with, you get the idea. We've been working on the combat for the past few streams, and I'm pretty happy with how that's going. I've did a few other tweaks that I'll show y'all before we get started. And as you can see, well, you won't be able to see yet. Howdy, Master Rocks. Happy to have you, bud. Previously, we had this little guy. You may have seen him before. This is the overworld, but he didn't do anything. He acted as a trigger to start the battle. I started implementing like this whole alert system where he would run up and everything, and I don't know how I feel about that, to be honest, right now. It's a little confusing. Like, the player may not be sure whether they're in the overworld or the battle arena, and sometimes I find myself trying to attack him. So I'm thinking that I may remove it. And it's something I've already implemented for more random based. We're going to try it out and see which works best, but we'll keep it like as a thing that can still happen. So if we remove this and get rid of this, and this is code right here I created, which I'll have to show off here in a second. Actually, let's do that first, so y'all can, like, in case y'all have an opinion that y'all want to share as well. So we got this guy, and I also slowed the sword attack down a little bit, so it's not as OP. But we'll be doing a lot of tweaking during this whole thing. And so he gets knocked out and takes his damage. That's what that line of code here does. And then we have one for the player as well. It's for the game over screen, but that's not implemented yet. But we're going to remove this and this because I've also implemented something else to where it's the more you move around for a while, and eventually you'll encounter the random battle. And so I think we're going to go with that for now, simply because I found it to be confusing having the two. It's something we may have to play with later. But today we're going to be doing interactables, and we're going to disable that feature so that we don't have combat when we don't want it to be. And we have this done up here. The player emits a signal whenever they moved, and they emit how much they moved. And then in the overworld, we keep track of how far the player has moved since their last encounter. We actually have it to where they have to move so far before they trigger another counter. If that's true, then we do this line of code. Now this line of code I've not tested. The general idea for this line of code is that every 2 seconds they move, there's a chance for an encounter to trigger. I mean, like, on average. So on average, you should expect, and this is really high, I was bumping it up for testing purposes. It feels longer, so it's probably not acting as intended, but you get the general idea. So, we're going to disable this by just returning for now. We'll add a variable here later. Well, we can do it now. Because I don't really like doing that. So we'll say this is the overworld. We'll do it in globals. We'll have a global variable that determines whether or not we have encounters for debug purposes only. So for and then if we just check, say if globals dot is encounters enabled, and perform that, and that should keep us from having that trigger. So we're going to be working on interactables today. So I haven't really thought about how I want to do this just yet. What I'm thinking though is that we might have an object, and let's call this an event. Now, NPCs will be different because they'll be actual characters that move around. So we'll have to consider like treasure chest versus NPCs. Like they need to perform the similar things. And all I'm thinking is like an area we check. We're going to do like a shape cast or whatever, and then get the nearest event, and then we perform it that way. That's the general idea that I have. So event, because we have treasure chest, but we could also be a sign. It should all be the same thing. So for now, we're going to add a sprite. We're just going to assume that this is a treasure chest. Like I said, it's going to be, when we create the treasure chest, it will extend from this. But we'll pretend like this is the actual treasure chest for now. We've been using OX72's 16 by 16 dungeon pixel art tiles, whatever, for our prototyping, which we're going to continue using here. Hey, can maybe you answer my question on your moving platforms vid? I'd have to take a look. I don't know what your question is. Let's see. So yeah, we have treasure chest here. We'll be using these. Now, animating this will be differently when I do it, because we have when I create my art for it, it's going to be just the treasure chest, and we can use the animation frames here, but we won't be able to do that here. We'll have to do it manually. So oh yeah, enable region, go to texture region, and this is a 16 by 16. Our tile sets will be 24 by 24. So I'm not sure how this is going to place. We're not going to have it on the grid, I reckon. Ideally, eventually we will, but for now this should be good. So if we do this, that should be all we need to show it good. And then we'll just we're going to create, in fact, yeah, we're going to create the static body as a parent to this, because any other events we have, it may not need a static body. You can imagine an event that you would walk over. I'm not sure if we'll add these requirement like as in we may not keep this here. Like we may instance a static body per event that needs it. I'm not sure. At the very least, we could leave the shape off, but that shouldn't cause too much issue. My platform just quickly steps from the starting point and doesn't move smoothly. I don't recall seeing that question recently. Snaps to a starting point and doesn't move smoothly. I can't think of anything why, other than the tween. I think with that video, the tween assumes that you have a position of 0, like for the platform itself. I think you should. I should have done it to where it took the current position, and I might have done vector 2.0. If that's true, then I would try that. So rectangle, we'll just get a quick little shape going here. There's no way I won't watch you all. That's very kind of you, Mr. McNoob. Don't know how long I'll be streaming though. Can't say I'll be streaming all night. Unless you intend to watch the stream over and over again, which, I mean, you know, that's your time, bud. You spend it how you want. So in our world, we'll have events folder where we'll store all this stuff. And then what I'm thinking here is we just add in an area 2D, which will need a collision. And this should probably just use like a circle, maybe. We don't have to be too fancy with that. And then it'll need its own layer. What layer do we want? No, here. Let's say layer 10. So we'll go and flip that into here. Event. I think we have a, do we have a, no. We'll probably add that later because we're going to be checking collision through code probably, maybe. Possibly. Yeah, I think so. We don't need a mask because it's not checking for anything. So then we go to our world player. I want to name that, but I'll name it later. I can't think of a good name for it right now. We need to think, and we're going to have an interact key. How do we want to interact in the world? My name is Morse on Discord. If you don't remember me, but my name is Minecraft Moose. Okay, that's when you call me McNoob. I mean, your name's McNoob. It makes more sense for me to call you that. Don't forget enemies with a short attack range, no movement, and a treasure chest sprite. Mimics. Oh, I love mimics. I do love me some mimics in a queue. Yeah, there will definitely be some mimics. And the good kind that give you loot when you kill them. I think if you make a mimic, they have to drop good loot when you kill them. Otherwise, it's just a big disappointment. All that work for nothing. Can't have that. So, how do we want to do interactions? Right now I have it, the character moves. The faces, the way they're moving, which is different than how I have it in battles. In battles, it is facing towards the mouse. I'm not sure how that will work out, but I think it would be, I don't know how I want to do that though. But I'm thinking we click, we click to perform actions. Now we have this as our attack. We could just call it interact action. Action sounds fine. Action will be both attack and interaction, I think. I don't see that being an issue. And what's that square with the circle inside? Square with the circle inside next to the node. It is like a signal or something. What does it do? Um, hold on. Do I not have signals there? So, world enemy. This might be here if we do that. You talking about that right there? It's not a circle though. Not sure I get what you're asking for, bud. Okay. So we have the event here. Treasure chest. Let's add it to our world so I get an idea what it looks like. We'll add it to entities. I don't see why not. There. Okay. So we have our treasure chest. Should be able to walk with it and everything. Maybe. No, actually, I don't. I think. No, we do. It does. I didn't expect that actually, because I thought I probably left its collision. I probably didn't mess with it. Static body. Collision. Good. We will keep it for now. This is usually the one I use for terrain. We'll keep it there for now though. Should be fine. We might have two different ones for past like see-through terrain, and then not see-through terrain for AI purposes. But not important right now. Okay. So when actually I need to fix the attack. That was what I was doing, because now that we renamed that attack button, we need to do so in our playable character. Yeah, to change this to action. I think that's the only place we need it. Okay. If it breaks later, I'll probably forget about it. When you put a signal, it shows a signal image next to the node. And next to that image, there's a square. That, like, what? Put a signal, it shows a signal image next to the node. And next to that image, there's a square. This is visibility. Or this. Oh, it's a group. Gotcha. That is a group. It means it's a part of a group. This would be events. So yeah, if you see that, it means that node is part of a group. Okay. Now we'll go to our world player. This is where we're going to add the interactions. So we will do this in our unhandled input so that we can cancel it out from menus and stuff. We'll say if event.is action pressed action. Now this we're going to call this interact. We'll even give it. We could give it global mouse position, but we have to take into consideration that we don't want the player clicking just wherever the global mouse is. And we could check for that in the interactive method, but let's assume that we want to keep this sort of OP. Maybe I want to have the ability to interact with something far from the player later on down the road. So we're going to clamp this now. So we'll say far mouse equals get mouse position minus global position. That'll get the local position. I don't use the local mouse position because I've had issues with it before. I should probably test it, see if it fixes it now. But long ago I used to have issues with it, and changing that one variable always made it work for me. So I'm always skeptical about the get local mouse position. So we'll say mouse dot clamped. We'll create a constant for this. Call interact distance range radius. Yeah. So interact radius. And that should clamp it to so that they can only interact so far. Now, the thing about that is we probably have to visually show that somehow. Maybe, I don't know. That could be confusing. We might do it through a shader, like a outline shader. We could change the outline of the objects. So that might be what we do. Or we could even go a step further. Right now we're going to create a circle around where we check, and then get the closest one. That could have some issues. Yeah, that's going to have issues too because it would allow us to select further away if we select right at the edge, but we're thinking we're way too overthinking this. We just need a way to interact. I'm not too concerned about how buggy it is, so long as it works. This is just a prototype. We just need to get something actually functioning. Let's see. Both that one, the world player node. What do we do with a group? With a group, you can call a group to do things. Let me see where I'm doing this. So here, I'm getting the player through this way. I'm just saying get tree, get nodes and groups, players. And then, I mean, this is potentially would do this for any players. Like if we was to make this a multiplayer, this would call for any multiplayer game. Like here, I have a get tree call groups. This was for the enemy that I showed earlier at the very start of the stream. When you touch the enemy, it triggers a battle event. This would call that enemy's group and tell it to register its events, because we have to register them so the enemy, when it emits the signal, it tells the game to change the scene. So it's a good way to call. It's a good way for calling other entities without having references to those entities. Okay. So where were we? Oh, events, I believe. Here, yes. No, player. We were making the interaction. Okay. So that's our interaction. Out. We'll call that out. That'll be the position that we want to interact to. We'll call that our vector 2, so we know what it is. And then we'll create the, we'll do the whole shape casting thing. So we'll say we need to get the space state. Get world. Is there an error? Oh, constants. Did I not? Oh, whoops. Let's say a 3-block radius for now. Get world 2D dot direct space state, and then we want to get everything that's within that area, because for precision purposes, maybe, because it will, or even overlapping. No, I say we do point, and rather than casting a circle and making it complex, we just do point. So that would be var result equals space state dot intersect point. And that would be our point. We just need one, maybe. We could do more later because there could be overlap, and if you click that, we're just going to get, I don't know what Godot's priority system is. We could do it some other way. I can't think of any specific reason we would need it, but there's that. And then we need our collision layer. Now, what I'm going to do is create that script that stores our collisions so that we can reference them pretty easily. So new script, collision layers. Make this a class name so that we can reference this without having to auto-load it or anything like that, or needing a reference to it. So collision layers, and then constant event layer equals 1. This is 10. Let's check what the bit is. I feel like that's wrong. So this guy, bit 9. That's what I figured. All right, bit 9. So then when we go back to our world player, we can just say collision layers dot event layer. I think that's all we need. No, this will be false and this will be true. And if we have a result, for now we'll just print result to let us know so that we can, that everything works as intended, and we can go ahead with the thing. Okay. that there wasn't a function called interact. Wait, how does it give you an error when you put interact and there wasn't a function called interact? That's supposed to give you an error. But I don't know. I was probably too quick, man. I was probably too quick. Okay. So I expected that to work, to be honest. Yeah, we have the bit 9 value of 512. Let me print out. Okay, so I got this wrong. Should print out 512. So the layer is correct. Sometimes you get some funkiness. What? Wait, what is this? Oh, that's the results. Yeah, sometimes we get... I don't know. Here, what we're going to do. Does Godot let us do this? I'm about to find out. Okay. Just making sure I'm not being silly. I bet my interaction's wrong. Tell you what, let's do this. I think I know why. I'm doing the local position. I was trying to clamp it. Okay. I need to be doing local position plus my position. I believe. Because we clamped it there to do that, but then we want to add in our position back to it. I feel like, I mean, it works, so I'm not going to argue with it, but I feel like I don't usually do it that way. I feel like I do something else, but we will see. Okay. So, there we go. So now that we have the result, we have the area. What we're probably going to do is have this emit a signal. So we're going to save this as a scene. And this will be, we can instance this onto other events. Or other things that need this event. So event trigger. And the reason we're doing this is so that we can just have a little script on here. Class name, event trigger, and then we'll say function on triggered. Later on we'll have information such as the world's information, who triggered it, whatnot. But for now, we're going to say signal triggered. And then what we'll do, we'll emit the signal right here. Emit signal triggered. And then when we interact with it here, we'll say if result is event trigger result dot on triggered. And basically what we're doing is telling that we clicked it, and then the event will tell its parent that it was clicked, which is this was going to listen for. We'll attach a signal here. Just basically passing the signal up the chain. Yeah, whatever. We'll use that one. Okay. So this is where we would open the chest. So we'll play a graphic. We're also going to want to probably do a thing to where we close the event. So we'll do that afterwards. But for now, we're going to open the chest, which we'll do with an animation player. So that, oops, nope. I think there's only 2 animations. And I think they're 16 pixels apart. Ooh, gets me every time. There we go. So on the event triggered, we are in, yeah. We can just say animation player dot play open. Today is wanting to be one of those days. Oh, because the results of collider. Pretty sure. There we go. Maybe. No. If results. Results. var result equals results. We just need the 1 because we're only checking for 1. If results dot size is greater than 0, else null. And that should do that. Get rid of this one because we don't need it. We'll get there eventually. There we go. Make sure we don't have one up here. Okay. This should work. Boom. Good. Alright, now. We don't have an inventory system set up yet. We're not going to for a little bit, because I'm not too concerned about inventory. I don't think inventory is going to be a big part of gameplay. One could argue why would I have a chest without inventory, but I just want like it's going to be more for like not just a chest. We're going to be using this for other things like NPCs and signs that you might need to read, stuff like that. So but we have that functionality going, which is good. And this is here we would pause the game, probably have or at least prevent the players from moving. Not sure how I feel about pausing, because pausing, we want to actually pause for the actual pause, like when we put a menu up or whatever. Whereas this one, we just want things to stop moving. We would still want them to animate, so we don't want them, maybe. That might be tricky if we have entities moving around. It's not something I'm too concerned right now. But yeah, we have that. So, let us here we could even, if you wanted to do a mimic, we could be let's see if I remember how we do this. Just a quick deviation. We have world enemies here. Register events. Battle triggered. Yeah, here. So ideally, this is all we'd need to do. That. Yield for the animation player. Animation finished. And then we emit our signal. Signal event triggered. Boom. There's a mimic. We just need a mimic enemy. Okay, though. We don't need that. Ideally, instead of that, we would have... we're going to keep this, though. But we're not going to keep... We're going to keep a reference to that. Because we will register these events just like we did the other ones. It's the same concept. It's just different events. We can register multiple events as well, I would imagine, just by changing the signal. Or we could pass in an argument. Now well, this event is going to the game where it has the battle, so I think we could do our own. But depends on what we're doing here. Like, we needed that because of battle transitions and stuff, but we should be fine here. All right. So yeah, we have a treasure chest. We could dump some loot out. That's actually... Let's do that. Just as something to do. Because we will have a currency in the game, probably. More than likely. I don't know how I want to do it yet, though. It's not important. We won't worry about it. I'm trying to think of just what I want for the prototype. I think we should probably work on... Let's do a quick dungeon layout. Just sort of while I think about what we should be doing. So we have this world here. I don't have an easy way for doing this. But I just came from Rick's stream. Seems like you guys overlapped a bit. Let's see. It's bound to happen. Rick streams about every day, I think. He streams pretty early on. Let's see. Put him there. Now, I'm not sure how I'm going to do. I haven't put a lot of thought into like the dungeon layouts and stuff. I want to do it sort of puzzle based. I want to have some puzzles. Like one of the games I really enjoyed playing, somewhat growing up, was Golden Age. No, not Golden Age. That sounds weird. Wow, I can't believe I can't think of the name. It was for the Game Boy Advanced. It might have been Golden Age actually. For the Game Boy Advance, and you had these little the Jin that you'd capture, and the more you captured, the more powers you had. Like you could perform abilities, and you use these abilities to solve puzzles. And so, I mean, we're going to do nothing like that at all. But still, we're going to have like a try to do some puzzle elements, like along with the action gameplay, which is sort of the reason I wanted to do the gameplay as I did. Sort of keep them separate, I reckon. But yeah. Golden Sun, that was it. Golden Sun. I don't know why I thought Age. Fantastic game. That was one of my favorites. Especially for the advanced. I'll have to play it again for some inspiration. So yeah, we're just going to, what I'm going to do is lay out a basic dungeon, just sort of get a feel for how I want the actual dungeon progression to go. Best GBA game. Agreed. Agreed completely. So, like I have absolutely no ideas for puzzles. I've never designed puzzles before, so it's going to be something that I'll have to sit down and try to figure out. But I do want to do so a lot of, because this is not going to be a procedural game. This is actually going to be like their actual dungeons, pre-laid out, designed and everything. And the good thing about that is it'll allow us to set up some nice dungeons, actual rooms that you have to go through. Since we're doing random enemy combat though, that'll be it'll be interesting to see how that plays into the gameplay wise. Oops. I'm not going to do this too long, just sort of just as a thinking exercise. We don't have any decorations right now either. I want to do some art soon, like some of my actual art. I've been doing a little bit, but I'm a little rusty on the art. Oops. We'll finish this room off and probably call it there. Yeah. It's not the prettiest room at all. In fact, it's pretty bad. That would not be an interesting dungeon layout. But hey. Okay, tell you what. Let's work on the dialogue system. We will need it. We'll need it for the chest. We'll need it for NPCs. We'll need it for signs. So we'll go ahead and get that implemented. How? Let's look at the game. The game holds our HUDs. Should. Yeah. So we're going to do into here. We don't need that. And we'll actually make a separate scene for this because, yeah, dialogue manager. Okay, so UI fun. This will be UI work. This will be fun. We're gonna need a non-patch for sure. What is it called? Put it spelled out. There we go. And this will be. Where we hold that, we're gonna need a very quick non-patch rect. Nothing too fancy. Go with the bluish, somewhat grayish there. Put a shadow. Oops. No. That is terrible, but it'll it'll serve its purpose. Let's see. Dialogue. Direct. Just 1, 2, 3, 4. What? No, never mind. Wrong one. There we go. We should be able to just resize this now to where we need it. Good. As for positioning, I think we're just going to add in a margin for right. I don't really, okay, well, I don't want it to be full thing. I didn't expect it to do that. Down to the size that we want. Pretty big. And then we'll do the margin ourselves. We could go center bottom. There. See how that looks. No, we have an instance there. A little too big. With the center, is there option just to do one axis? Doesn't look like it. Let's fiddle around with this though. I think we can make this work out. As Okay, guess not. UI work is not my favorite thing to do. So as you may see, I'm not terribly versed in it. There has to be a better way for this. Surely. Let me think. Ah, I bet I know why. Let's add that center back. We don't have a minimum size for this. And usually when that happens, it compacts it down as small as it can. So, I don't know what size, so. Ooh, that's way too big. That's also not centered. There. Now, ideally I want the vertical. I don't know that I can do that though. What's that? Unless let's try adding a view box here. And then we'll add in just a filler node here. Yeah, I don't think this is going to do it. Okay. I have another idea. Use an H box. Two filler nodes. One on either side. I really expect. Oh, okay, well, hold on. I'm about to get a little irritated, to be honest. There. Now you, I don't want you. Oh, this is so. Yeah. There. Okay. Now we can just add a margin here on the bottom. There we go. All right. Log box. That way we can easily get a reference to it. We can say ready for dialog box equals that. Now, the idea being that we'll call the HUD we'll see. When we event trigger, we have the game here, our HUD. Okay. Now we already have that HUD stored. Oh. So this is our event. We can just say here connect game.hud its dialog, which is a method we'll create. Later on, we'll pass in like we could have our dialog option stored in a JSON file with an ID system maybe. And then here we can pass in the ID for the dialog that we want to do. Now the HUD here will be this. Func init dialog. Which we'll do the whole JSON thing here in a minute probably. And then this we'll need to I suppose we just call I don't like it. Weird. Sometimes we have to do weird things in Godot by calling things like this. Not a big fan, but it's better than having a big long chain. Maybe not. Big long chain from the connection backwards. Ready for dialog manager. Or I'll just connect it to the dialog manager because I really don't like having those methods where it's just one single line connected this to that. But at the same time I don't like having these chain of nodes like this because they're easy to break basically. And once you break it in one place, it breaks it everywhere. It can be a little tricky to replace. Over here, so game.hud dialog manager. Okay. Init dialog. Now by default this guy will be hidden. Maybe we hide ourselves. Maybe. So on the function ready, we'll hide. Hi, I would like you to make a video based on 2D character costume editor in Godot. Thanks. Maybe at some point. Right now, I've been having a hard time getting motivation for tutorials, so I'm going to work on this for a bit and do some devlogs, see how that performs. So I wouldn't expect tutorials for a little bit. But yeah, this should do, maybe. We'll have to see how this works. Pull that closer for testing purposes. Now, why did you not trigger? I bet because I didn't call it. Yeah. There we go. Okay. Let's yield for the animation player. Oh, probably because I'm not in the scene, I would imagine. Okay. So there's our basic window. Now we need to do our text. I do want to have portraits for these. Right now we're not going to. But we'll have to consider some things will have portraits, some things won't. We'll have to consider how we handle that. I'm guessing, and how we want to show the portraits. Probably above the thing we might have a special graphic that has a border for the portrait as well. I'm not too keen on having it in the window. Sometimes you'll see that. I'd go eat, but we'll check this video out for later for sure. I am new to dialogue system in Godot and haven't seen tutorials on it. Yeah, there's not many tutorials on the dialogue system in Godot, to be honest. Granted, this isn't going to be anything too fancy. Might look at text reveal only because we can do it through BB code, which is something I want to do because I want to have custom BB code for things that I want to do as well. I think that would be add a nice little touch to it. Not something I'm interested in right now because it's just prototyping, but certainly down the road I want to do some nice work with BB code. Like once it came out, I did a few things with it just for fun, and I haven't really actually done anything with it since. And it's a really cool feature. Like I was pumped for it. Okay. We also don't have a font going, so we're gonna have the basic default font unless I can go pick one up. I think I might have one stashed somewhere. I just have to find it. There, I ain't too worried though. What is it? Label? Yeah. I think. So label. I'm gonna go full rect. Yeah. And margin. We'll cut a bit of it off. How much? Say 12. Yeah. The default text always looks garbage when you've got low resolution. Dialog text. Go ahead and cache that as well, just because I know we're going to use it here in a second. Okay. Yeah, let me look for a pixel font right quick. Let's see. See what this one looks like. There we go. Okay, let's see what it looks like in game. I think that's a good size. All right. Maybe we'll take a look at what's it called? Rich text label. Do we need that? I forget what we need. Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna add that font again. Let's see. It's been a while since I've done the BB code though, so this will take a bit of experimentation. I believe we make a script and extends. Let me pull up the documentation for this. says rich text effect. Okay, here we go. Yeah. And we're going to copy this one we have. The Godot documentation provides a an example. We're going to copy that and then manipulate it to do what we need it to do. We're going to copy it to make sure it works. Just to get us a good starting foundation. Actually, I think we can just copy everything here. Root node, there. Okay. Now, as for how to apply it, what does this do? Ah, here we go. I think this is that. So where did I save that one? Here. Text effect test. Is it must be okay, hold on. I think I remember having to create a new There we go. All right, so test. All right, we're going to look at the project file here. Okay, so what is this? Text edit. I don't know why that's not so. Yeah, wasting too much time on this. I'll deal with it later. I'll take a look at this off stream, and then we'll figure it out on stream once I have an idea for how to at least get this started. Because once we get it started, I've dabbled with the BBC before, or BB Code or whatever. It's really nice to use, but very tricky to get going. Okay. So then, let's get started with the JSON then. We can dabble that later. So for that, we need to create the JSON. Here. Been a little while since I've done JSON though, so again, it's gonna be trial and error. So, but I think look at a quick template. Okay. So this is not going to be the ideas we use. It's just to get us started. So we'll do something like that, and then we'll say text. No. Should be able to just do this. There. All right. The Godot, it's not going to show the JSON file. So I've added it to that file there as text.gd. So when we initialize the dialog, we'll get the IDX, or the ID, which should be a string. New, hey, I'm back. Welcome back, bud. I just want to watch a show, mister, and my family. I was went to. Got you. Let's see. Now, for now, we're going to do this dynamically. Later on, when we actually implement this, it's probably going to load this up. Maybe, I don't know. Not sure. We're going to load this file as is. So, we'll just file equals. We're not going to. Dialog. I feel like there's a better way to do this. I'll have to go through and check later. But or data equals. Let me look. Okay. Let's print this right quick. See what it does. This would be the ID I used in the file. Okay, so there's our text. Then we'll just say that. Then this should be a dictionary, I would imagine. Just to double check. Oh, actually, let's tell you what. We're gonna go all in. I'm gonna say data print data dot oh, come on now. Today is not a data type. Dot text. Okay, cool. Then all we have to do is just say dialog dot text equals data so I should have done to begin with, but hey, be alright. No? Oh. Okay, so we got that from our file. Now, what we would want to do would be to change some stuff. So let's look at this again. Let's do column. Oops. Try that. Okay. Now first we need an action to do it. So right now, whenever we click this up and like everything's still running. So we need to tell our game to not run things. Like I said before, I don't want to pause because I feel like that could cause. Can you tell me how to make area 2D if the player get in the enemy being chased and shot towards the player? What? Make an area 2D if the player being shot, chased and shot towards the player. I don't know what you're asking, bud. But yeah, we need to tell things to not process. I don't want to pause though, because I may want some stuff to still animate, and that's tricky to handle all at one time. The alternative would be to have a variable that tells everything to not do stuff, but I feel like that's just as tricky. So, for simplicity's sake, we're going to tell the pause. Tell everything to pause. So, dialog manager, you're going to there. You're going to keep running. How to make an area, like if the player steps into it, the enemy starts chasing them, and they start shooting towards the player. Is that what you're asking? Okay, so data, parse JSON, data we'll say get tree dot paused equals true. That's the whole thing, but that would require quite the explanation. But for the area, you just make an area and then have it triggered whenever the player steps through it to tell the enemy that it's been triggered, and the enemy targets the player. But the thing about that is, I find having big areas like that to detect players is not very performance friendly. So I've done this before where I had like a big area for detecting players, and then once you get like 8 enemies together nearby, like all those collision layers start triggering. Like it'll trigger on stuff that's not even what it should be checking for. Like it checks for every layer, it just checks to see if it should be checking for that layer, but it still triggers it or something, I'm guessing. So like you can have the player detection all grouped up together, and the player's way over here, but they're still like you'll check your collision count and it's way up high and it slows your game down. And I've had that happen with just a handful of enemies really close tight together. So I don't do what I do is I'll get the player reference somehow, usually through a group, and then check the distance that way. Howdy, Hal. We are working. It's a bit of a all over the place, to be honest. But we started working on an interactables. So our character, we have this character. This is our overworld. We walk up to this chest. We open the chest. Pops up the text box. We are working now to get it to where the text box, we can push space or something, and then it advances to the next text. And also we want to, which actually I just did, we want to pause the game, but not for the dialogue manager, so that seems to be good. And then we can check to see, we need some way of letting us know that we're in a dialogue right now. And so I guess we'll do is active. So when this happens, is active equals true. Chest gonna have an inventory. I don't know how I want to do that. Ideally, I don't want to spend too much time on an inventory system. I mean, it wouldn't be too hard to hammer one out. But I'm tempted for now, at least, to go with just a bloop, you gained items type of inventory. That doesn't mean that in the future I might not change it, because my idea with this game is I want to have it really simple, nothing too overly over the top, and that means even a stripped down inventory system. And it's probably just go with a menu based inventory system like the JRPGs that I grew up with. And so, but if we release this and it does well enough, I may, or like if I put a demo out and it does well enough, I may expand upon it. But yeah. So as of right now, I'm just thinking basic, very, very basic. Like this there. You gained an item, then it closes out. So get gpause, we got as active true. We want to do the function, but first let's check our input. So we want, I'm guessing UI accept is the one we want. Yeah. Event.is action pressed UI accept. Okay, so what I think I would do, not too on board with this, but we'll say signal dialogue. I spelled that wrong down here. I knew I did. I was like, that looks really weird. Pretty sure that's correct. Dialogue's a funny word. Dialogue advanced. I mean, let's see. I mean, if inventory isn't a thing, why have a chest and why not like a sign or something like that? Why would a sign give you an item? Pretty silly, unless you want to get signs. Sign collector 2020 with 20, yeah. Sign collection simulator 2020. Now, like, you'll have an inventory system. What I meant was, like, the chest might not have an inventory system. So, like, like a Skyrim, where you open up a chest, you can move items around, stack them up, choose, or not, you can do it in Skyrim, but say Minecraft, you open a chest, you've got this UI where you can move items and stuff. Like, it's not too difficult, but it does take a lot of time to implement that. And so I'm thinking just like a chest opens up, you gained a potion, bloop, bloop. Dialogue is a funny word. I see any tutorials video doesn't, you don't explain a lot. I feel lost in the video. That's the intended. It's not, my videos are not meant for beginners. They're meant for intermediate people that have had some experience with the engine and are just looking for a quick answer to a question. So the player has an inventory, but the chest isn't supposed to. Correct. The players just have a basic one too, like a menu that lists all their items. You could just have a UI where you click on what you want, and that's as complicated as it gets. That's a good idea, actually. Yeah, because maybe you don't want everything. You might do that. Okay. We're still going to work on this dialogue system though, because one, we've already started it. Two, we're going to use it for NPCs and stuff. So emit signal, but I really like that. I think we'll go with that one. How about put your name as a signal? Dialogue advanced. The highest of honors. Kind of like dungeon chests in Minecraft. Yeah. Like you don't want all that flesh, especially when you're diamonds. You're loaded down with diamonds. Okay, image yeah. So for here, we will yield our self dialogue advanced. Once that happens, now that we have to do a loop here somewhere. I say no because you can move stuff around in them, but why would you say? No, it's more like imagine Fallout 4, but without opening the inventory. Like when you first loot a body or something like that, it just shows a menu and you can take what you want and then close it out without, but ignore the fact that you can open the inventory. But then again, that's the same. It is menu based too, isn't it? Yeah. I'm trying to make a platform game, and they're not much tutorial, so I am. Heartbeast has a platform tutorial, and he's really beginner friendly. Did Kids Can Go do a platformer tutorial as well? He might have done a couple videos. I highly recommend his channel. Okay, so we need. Oh yeah, so we got this yield. We need to enter a loop, but we only want to do it if there's a next. So okay, so what we want to do is say for, we need a name for this. This is going to be for our JSON. It's going to be the dialogue data, like this bit right here. We need a name for that. Section, yeah. For section equals data 00. ID, because that's what we're passing in. Okay, so kind of need a do while here. I don't think Godot has a do while. Does Godot have a do while? I don't think it does. Yeah, it doesn't look like it. In Earthbound, there are boxes on the floor that you open and go straight into player's inventory. That's the traditional way to do it. Like Final Fantasy did it, I believe. Now, if we implement limited inventory, then we would want the system where you could select. If we have infinite inventory, maybe not as much, but it still won't kill us. It'll be really simple to implement. Dragon Origins? No, Dragon Age. Dragon Age had that system too. Actually, that was a perfect example of that system, because you could never put anything back into the chest. You could only take from chest. And then you had that button to loot all, which we could implement. So I don't think it has a do while, so we'll have to do something. Okay, so okay. So tell you what, we'll put this in a function. Show message data. Section. So we'll say show message section, and then we'll say wow section dot has wait. Now this is a dictionary has dot keys dot has. Next, show message. Okay, so then we want to set our section equals dot next. Yeah. Data section dot next. Show message section there. Trouble would be is we had this yield here. No, we could do it here. Yeah, we'll have to do it there and then there, I think. And this goes here. All right, so dialog text equals section.text. We can, this doesn't have to be there in the loop, we can just put that there. Okay. We'll also have to pass in the file, I reckon. Okay, so we open the data, we parse it into a dictionary from the JSON, get the section, we show the message, and then we yield for the advancement. If it has the next key, then we show the we get our new section, show the message, and yield again. Well, let's see how that works. Make sure I've set this up correctly. Okay. Wait, something broke. Of course not, it's right there. Ah, it's this word. Oh wait, there we go. Okay, cool. I forgot the space. I need to do it as click as well. All right, cool. Now if it doesn't, then when we're done, we need to unpause. And then hide. Okay. And then we want to probably emit some kind of signal that we've finished so that the box can close. Let's just call it finished. And advanced. Okay. Now in our event, this is what triggers it. Event triggered. Doing these yields. Okay. Function event finished we'll close. We'll play it backwards. Won't always be the case, but for this one, this will be true. Now we yield. I don't feel like doing game.hub. Because we only want to listen to it once. It feels weird to connect something once for no reason and then disconnect it. Especially since, depending on the event, we would want different actions to take. But we don't have that. This gets more and more convoluted. Okay, but it works. We can clean it up later. Okay. Now, actually, well, I actually might be honest. That'll let the player know that they've actually looted it. But it's good to know how to have an idea for how we would want to implement something like that. But yeah, that's our basic interaction system. Now we just need to apply it for like NPCs and stuff like that. Connect other different things that we might need for getting all those bells and whistles in there. Why Godot do not have many tutorials in YouTube? Godot has tons of tutorials in YouTube. I don't know what you mean. Plenty in my opinion. And like, if you've watched them all and you still haven't learned, you as a programmer, you have to learn to solve these problems on your own. Something I would highly recommend is once you watch your tutorials, you don't even have to watch the ones that solve the particular problem that you're having. What you do is watch some tutorials, get an idea for how something works, go to the documentation page, learn how the engine works, and then use that information to solve the problems yourself. Relying on others to solve all your problems, you'll be held back as a developer. A big thing about developing is solving your own problems. But I mean, for any problem you have, just about for the basic problem, Godot's pretty much got you covered. There are plenty of tutorials around. The only thing that they don't have a lot of tutorials for is complex stuff, which most people aren't going to do because one, it takes a lot of setup, a lot of time. Not many people are going to be looking for it because at that point, they already know how to solve these problems. But if you just need to learn basic stuff, tons of tutorials. Kids Can Code is a great source. It's where I learned everything I know. Heartbeast, he's got a ton of tutorials. GD Quest, me, but I mean, like I said, I wouldn't recommend it for a beginner. I'm surprised many people watch mine because, like I said, most people don't try to do intermediate stuff, but me, I figured I'd be different. Take a chance or whatever. But yeah, enough about that. There's tons of tutorials, so tons and tons and tons. They're everywhere. So yeah, I think that's going to do it for now. I'm gonna between the strings, I'm gonna take a look at the BB code, look at how to set it up, and once we get that going, we'll take a look at some text reveal. I mean, it's not a vital thing. We could actually do this entire prototype without text reveal, but you might as well because it's really easy with the BB code new BB code features. I'm gonna try to do some art hopefully soon. But with that said, y'all take it easy. I appreciate y'all coming to the stream. Later.